Well, I had to take a few weeks off because I was sick, and wow, I guess I decided to come back for a good one. Oppenheimer by Christopher Nolan. Oppenheimer's played by Cillian Murphy. I know him best from A Quiet Place 2. I know he's in Peaky Blinders. He's a popular actor, but this is the best thing I think I've seen him in. I've never seen him be the main person, and having to be the main person in a Christopher Nolan film takes a lot of work, and also, you have to be really good. And a lot like Oppenheimer, which is kind of cool. I did some research after to see if, anything was fabricated or changed for the movie, but they covered a lot. I liked how this movie touched on a lot of the work he did. I mean, this guy is known as the father of the, nuclear missile, but, he figured out a lot of stuff about like stars and stuff that were just theories, but they're proved true later in life. And it was actually considered some of his greatest work, but obviously he's best known for the one thing, which is what, what happens. It was a big part of history, big part of, ending World War II. And they really play into how that affects someone. You're given this project and you're trying to do it to help mankind, but you're also maybe dooming them at the same time. And Murphy plays it really well, and you can see the way he acts. Like, he really wants to figure this out and better the planet, better his people, but he also knows the impact it's going to have on other people, and that this could be used in the wrong way, especially in the wrong hands, And they try to humiliate him after he contributed so much. Once they got what they wanted out of him, they try to destroy him. It's quite a roller coaster. You go through a lot. He kind of seems like an everyman, you relate a lot to his early life. He's very like wants to do better for all of humankind, but makes a lot of human mistakes. The woman he ends up marrying, she was like kind of married or involved with a bunch of people, but they're involved with some shady people. So he's kind of in the middle of all this, still somehow gets put into this project, and it creates some of his best life's work, but also creates a lot of problems for him in the future. Presented really well. Christopher Nolan, amazing filmmaker. I've been a big fan of his since Memento, probably before, Prestige. We can go on forever with Nolan films. It's amazing how many actors will just be fine with being side characters that are hardly mentioned, and there's just so many to name. Matt Damon was great. Like you hardly recognize it's them because they're completely different than what they usually do, and they give it their all. Robert Downey Jr. was one of the best side characters. He's probably not in screen that much, but he makes an impact whenever he's there. His character is kind of the rival and enemy of Oppenheimer, and he plays it so well. It's really, really good, and he does really well with that role. It's probably, he became Iron Man. He is Iron Man, but it's the best role I've seen him in a long time. I remember him in Zodiac. He stuck out to me there. It was kind of in a rough patch for him, and he's good in a few other things, and then he was known as Iron Man, but it is really good to see him in this new character, and he could probably just retire in that Marvel money, but he decides to, oh, I'm not done. So that was Emily Blunt's like a minor character, but she is great when she's on screen. Nolan's very against CGI. He says there wasn't any CGI. I mean, I'm sure there was probably some touch up or after, but the visuals are impressive. You see what's going on in Oppenheimer's mind and how he's visualizing things because he thinks differently because he conceives the universe differently, and he has all these theories. And like I said earlier, some of them later in life proved true, and kind of unfortunate that he faced a lot of controversy. Take what he did and put him down and excel themselves. You gotta have villains in an arc, and what's interesting about Oppenheimer is he's kind of a hero but also a villain himself. It's not black or white, it's a lot of shades of gray, and I think that's very well presented in this movie. And you kind of jump between, you hear about a lot of things that happened in Oppenheimer's life, things that would have made an interesting movie. Like the last hour is a lot about them trying to take away from what he did, run over a lot of it. You see like newspaper reports and you hear about events. It's like, that'd make a really good movie, but this would have to be 3 movies. It'd be 5 hours long by the time we're done if they made it one. It's a period piece. It makes you feel like you're in that time period. Also, the big part of the movie you would think would be the bomb test, and they build up tension for that really well. It's going to be successful because obviously it was, but still the tension in that moment, building up to, is this going to work as well as we think it is? Because, we gotta win this arms race. And as soon as it is successful, you can see it in his face. He's proud of himself, but he's also conflicted because I may have just destroyed the world. Even before it goes off, they're just like, this test could destroy humanity, but let's do it anyway because we have. It was a very interesting look at a very interesting individual's life. Something, I know a lot about the Manhattan Project. I grew up, my dad watching the History Channel, and I was a big history buff. Obviously, I heard of him, but I didn't know that much about him. I mean, I knew about Einstein and all their interactions with it, but it was just interesting to see his contribution, like a historical documentary, but good movie. Nolan keeps you engaged, even though it's 3 hours mostly of talking. That's going to be tough for some people. Some people might find it boring, but I was very engaged. It didn't feel like 3 hours to me. We're an hour and a half in, and I was like, oh, wow, we're already halfway through. It's definitely worth seeing. It's awesome. I highly recommend it. Probably not going to be for everyone, but I really enjoyed it. Definitely go check it out. Your favorite Nolan movie down below and what you thought of Oppenheimer, and I'll see you the next one. Thor out.